Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Mission Matters Business Podcast, your source for all things business. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres. Keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Mark Hayward on the line, and he's a business coach over at ABM Coaching, and he's also a host of the Absolute Business Mindset podcast. Mark, welcome to the show.
Hi, yeah, it's great to be here.
Oh, man, Mark, so I'm excited to get into this episode. So we're going to talk more about your coaching, and I always love bringing great podcasts to my audience, so excited to get into Absolute Business Mindset podcast. But before we do that, let's get a little bit further into your background. So how did you get started in your career and in business?
So my career in business started as an administrator in a Big Four consultancy firm, and I spent a couple of years there and then transferred over to the consultancy side where I've created and sort of worked through my career path there. So that was my first insight into business, and it really gave me a good grounding, and being taught there and learning from that environment has definitely helped me when I'm doing my coaching and my podcasting as well, because they expect high quality, and that's hopefully what I deliver on the other areas that I work in as well.
All right, and I think that's a great transition. So let's just dive right into ABM Coaching. Tell us a little bit more about your practice, please.
So basically, I'm a business coach, a qualified business coach, and I've been working with a few clients, and they generally come into three categories. They are people that are looking for a promotion, people who are looking for a pay rise, or people that are wanting to hit the refresh button and just maybe look for a different role in the company, or just look for a different job completely. So I've been working with people, and as a consultant as well as a coach, and in COVID-19 I've been working with a colleague and a friend of mine that I've known for some years, and I'm helping him through the transition for his business. It's really at the stage where does he sit tight on what he's got, or does he pivot? And we've been talking a lot about this word pivot, and it's been used a lot in this these pandemic times. And for him, he has to do something slightly different. He's on his investment clients, he's sitting tight, and he's just looking after them and giving them the best advice that he can. But we've been working on being able to pivot, and ironically, I've asked him to basically flip his investment plan and do it the other way. So instead of it coming into the UK, we're looking at people from the UK outwards as well, and looking at his target market. So yeah, I've been working with people, and I'm really looking to expand that area of the corporate people, because I think there's a lot of people that might be tax professionals, that might be finance professionals, they might be auditors, all the area that I've worked in previously. I think there's a great scope for, once people have qualified, do they actually know where they want to have the rest of their career? Do they want where they are now, or do they need to, as I say, hit the refresh button and think about other things? So looking to get a few more people on that basis, working hard and getting the people and getting some great feedback from people to deliver high quality business coaching, which I sometimes think isn't always there. So it's been able to deliver the high quality and being able to bring people along their journey to get to what their success is, and everyone's success is different.
So time to get into this podcast, Mark. So Absolute Business Mindset, I absolutely love supporting other podcasters and bringing them on the show to help them talk about their message and why they do what they do. First off, you've been doing this now going on 3 years. The Absolute Business Mindset's been around. So congratulations on that, first of all, for sticking with it. I love to see podcasters out there doing the work day in and day out. First off, what was the inspiration for starting this?
So the inspiration was very humble. It was started off as a hobby, and I didn't have any sort of aspirations of it being a sort of big podcast. but it's kind of evolved. So the first 60 episodes that I did, I've done 180 plus episodes now. First 60 were just me, my thoughts, I was documenting what I was doing. I was sort of reading lots and listening to podcasts myself and sort of working out how the best way for me personally, and thinking about my audience as well, how they can be able to get, in a way, mentorship or coaching through a podcast. So I did my first 60 as a solo stuff, and then I met someone who said, I'd love to be on your podcast. So I started doing an interview, and it worked really well. I got some good results on analytics, and then I just started doing interviews once a week, and it's really snowballed. I've had sales guys, I've had other YouTubers, podcasters, I've had industry experts, business owners, entrepreneurs, marketing guys. It's been a real cross of the sort of business spectrum of people that I've invited. So, and that's been fantastic. And I love doing the research and thinking about questions, and I love having that conversation. But I've managed to keep up my solo stuff as well. So, with the pandemic that's really affected the UK massively, I decided to do a working from home series as well. So twice a week, I only a 5-10 minute podcast, but I talk to people about hints and tips that I've either learned or I've experienced or I've spoken to people about and the idea is to give people that sort of support. It could be a second screen to work on if you're working from home. It could be keeping your desk tidy at the end of the day. It could be, there's an whole myriad of different things that I've talked about on this series, and we'll keep on doing it until people go back to offices. If they go back to offices is the big question. So for me, I've sort of, and then also the third string is just these sort of documenting and sort of things that I think about, things that I think that are important I want to share with my audience as well. So I sort of cover a lot of audience. I'm kind of doing about 4 or 5 episodes a week at the moment. So it's just full on, loving doing it, absolutely love doing it, wouldn't change it for the world. And so just hopefully another 3 years.
That's awesome. There's a lot of people out there listening to this right now that would like to start a podcast or have thought about it, but they just haven't gotten over it and gone over that hump. What would your message to them be?
So I would say, actually, you could go onto my podcast course. I'm recently just started a podcast course. I've got my first one in a couple of weeks' time. It's abmpodcastcourse.co.uk. We can take people from the US. We can take people from Europe. So you can obviously jump on that if you're interested. For me, doing a podcast, you've got to love doing it. You've got to love learning about how to do it, all the equipment, the software, the launching, the being able to podcast regularly, have consistency, getting your niche, making sure you know who you want to be talking to, and that niche can widen the longer you go. But yeah, just really think about what your message that you want to do. It's all about storytelling. It's all about interviews. So it's really just think about what you're passionate about and what you love doing, and then just talk about it. You don't have to initially start as interviews. Just do some solo stuff, get something out there, get better at it, and then you can widen it out to doing it with another person or doing it as interview style. So yeah, just think about it, research it, go on a course, and then you need to action. It's all about being able to action in this world.
That's awesome. Well, Mark, if somebody's listening to this and they want to learn more about ABM coaching or to follow up to learn more about your podcast, Absolute Business Mindset, what's the best way for them to connect with your brand?
Yeah, so the podcast is very easy. Absolute Business Mindset is on all the platforms. You can go to my website, which is absolutebusinessmindset.com, and you can do some research on me. There's some stuff about me and the podcast and stuff. So, but you can find it on all platforms. For the coaching, I would say the best place is find me on LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn. Find me on LinkedIn. You'll see it. The message is business coach and podcaster. Find me, DM me, and we can then start the conversation.
That's awesome. Well, Mark, really appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing more about your background and all the great work you're doing over at ABM Coaching. And to my listeners, don't forget to go check out that podcast, Absolute Business Mindset Podcast. Go give Mark some downloads. And if you like it, obviously hit the subscribe button. And speaking of the subscribe button, if you're listening to this for the first time, love for you to be a return listener. Even though we appreciate you listening once, come back and listen some more. So hit that subscribe button. If you're also watching this on our YouTube channel, don't forget, leave us some comments on that video. Love to know what kind of projects and things that you're working on. And Mark, thanks again for coming on the show.
Absolute pleasure. It's been great speaking to you.